Hello and welcome, Star Wars fans from all over the expanded universe. Whether you're from the Dawn of the Jedi to Star Wars Legacy, my name is John Edward Lee here in the Shenandoah Valley, here with a video for Universe Expanding Books and Toys, where we talk about action figures, Star Wars books, Star Wars comics, and the lines between them. This was kind of a big week for Star Wars collecting. A lot of stuff came out. So let's go through some of that. I didn't get everything that I could have this week because things are sort of spread out all over the place, but I was able to track down what everyone's been looking for this week, and that's the Clone Wars edition of the 50th Lucasfilm anniversary line. Very cool figures in the classic packaging, but with the new molds and new paint jobs, new costumes. Obi-Wan, who is arguably one of my favorite characters, especially in the Clone Wars. Echo, who now looks very different in as far as the Bad Batch goes. And then, of course, Clone Pilot Hawk, which I believe is the first Clone Pilot, period, in the Black Series. Also trickling some stuff in. I haven't got much from the Bad Batch, but I did get the Elite Trooper from the Bad Batch. A very cool figure. I like that it's sort of like a precursor to the Death Trooper and the Shadow Trooper all at once. Very cool figure. The first of the new wave of Gaming Greats figures from GameStop also came in. Cal Kestis from the Jedi Fallen Order video game. Here's the best part about that figure is that holocron right there. Man, I could use those for all my figures. That holocron's very cool. Of course, being into Star Wars books and comic books, holocrons sort of being a record of all those things is one of my favorite aspects of them. Not new, but I got a crisp and clean Boba Fett case. The one that I had previously is a bit crunched, so not my favorite version, so it was nice to get a clean version of them. In other exciting news as far as collecting, and these have, the pre-orders haven't come in, but people have found them, are the comic packs that they brought back. Not comic packs, not like the 2-pack 3.75 with the comic packs. That would be awesome. I'd love to see those return. But for the 6-inch Black Series, they started doing some comic characters, which of course is important to me being a Star Wars comic guy. The very first one, before I even mention that, if you are in the United States and you have a Books A Million near you and you collect Star Wars figures, go to those Books A Millions and check them out. They have a lot of stuff that they're sort of a forgotten place in a lot of places where people don't think to look for Star Wars figures there. They're priced the same as they would be in other stores. It's a good hunting spot. So, back to what we're talking about, the comic packs. Well, I keep calling them comic packs. Here is can't even say it. Carnor Jax, except know that it's not. It's now famously known that this is misprinted. This is actually Kurkanos, also from the Crimson Empire series. Not the first time for those figures. As you can see, Carnor Jax looks a lot different than this guy does in the package. Of course, there he is on the other side, Kurkanos. That's the third time they've visited this Crimson Empire series. As far as I can remember, I don't think they've done any individual, but they did do a previews exclusive pack of the characters in training with the Emperor and Darth Vader. And of course, there's Kurkanos. I didn't make the mistake. Hasbro made the mistake. That's Kurkanos, and that's Carnor Jax. So hopefully they release another version so that we have the two together. It's kind of become this almost Forlom Zuckuss situation where the names just got flipped. A lot of people have been giving them a lot of guff for making that mistake. But look, these guys are not that dissimilar looking. It is an honest mistake. I'm happy that Hasbro even thought about doing comic book characters and book characters. So I'm very excited about that. Segue into the other one that I got. Classic 70s Star Wars character Jaxxon, the Lepus Carnivorous, a bounty hunter from the original Star Wars comic books. This is issue 8. The original 6 issues of the Star Wars Marvel series was the adaptation of the original movie of A New Hope. He's one of the first Star Wars characters. Whether you like it or not, whether you think it's crazy to have a Looney Tunes-esque character in Star Wars or not, he was there from the beginning. And then, of course, the cover art that they used for this is from Star Wars Adventures 2019 Annual. Here's the coolest part about that. See that name down there? Stan Sakai. He's the one who did the cover art for this. This is a new comic. This is Jackson is canon again because he's in these comics, unlike the Crimson Empire guys who have not been brought back yet. Anyways, Stan Sakai is the guy who did Usagi Yojimbo, Rabbit Bodyguard. Maybe you might know that character through Ninja Turtles, but it was an original character from before that. They just happened to both have those comic books at the same time, and they sort of crossed in universes. But it's very cool that he did the cover for that issue, being that he knows Rabbit Warriors very, very well. The only thing I'd like them to add to that, if they were going to do another figure to go with this, is down there in the bottom right there is Amazia, who is Jackson's partner eventually. She's almost like Gunslinger and Bar Girl at the same time. She's got the crossed gun belts, but she's also got this, showgirl, skimpy outfit on as well. But she doesn't take any mess from anybody, and she's a really good character with Jackson, who's kind of wild and crazy and a loose cannon. She sort of tethers him back in. So I'd love to see both of those characters show up more in canon. I'd love to see the Crimson Empire characters come in at all. But of course, I'd like to see more figures of comic books. I still have the Heir to the Empire, Luke to go, and then the Training Darth Maul. So I'll eventually get those, as will I get also the rest of the Bad Batch. In other Star Wars news, we've got the comic books coming out with the War of the Bounty Hunters, as those are trickling out. That's a 34-issue cross series, meaning that every Star Wars comics besides the IDW ones and High Republic are involved in this. And of course, it's about the bounty hunters battling over who gets to get Han Solo to claim the bounty from Jabba the Hutt. Very cool. They've already done the Star Wars one. The Bounty Hunters one came out last week. The Darth Vader and... No, I guess it's Darth Vader and Star Wars next week. They did Dr. Aphra already. And then that's the prelude. So after that, it's going to get hardcore into the series as it goes along. And of course, you got all your favorites, the original 5 bounty hunters, like this guy right here. Of course, Boba Fett. Some new characters as well. And also some surprises like seeing Luke in the underworld, or, Darth Vader going after Han Solo himself, things like that. So interesting to see how that's going to play out. In book news, the last book to come out was the second in the third Thrawn series, Thrawn Ascendancy, Chaos Rising. This is a series of books. I'm like literally on the last chapter. I'm so close to finishing it. This is a series of books that take place before anything. It's when Thrawn is a captain for the Chiss, his people, before he gets exiled, and then eventually joins the Empire shortly after, the Clone Wars, between Clone Wars and A New Hope, and then of course has his history with Rebels, and then disappears, and will eventually come back, as rumors say, in the Ahsoka show to come. All right, so the only other interesting things I had this week was I've talked about Order 66 Toys in Fairview, Texas. They have a Patreon group, and you get an exclusive galactic relic, and of course they did this great card with some of the chips from Canto Bight, and of course this is a really professional looking card. They do a great job with these. All right, so a couple books, a couple comics, and a lot of action figures. I have an order that I'm waiting to come in of some Clone Wars characters that I'm excited to talk about, and 2 vintage figures, but not this vintage figure. I already have this vintage figure, Bosk, in his Cap 2, which has captured Chewbacca, one of my favorites. Anyways, so that's what I have for you this week. Like I said, next week we'll be back with some Clone Wars stuff. maybe a little bit more in depth into the Hunt of the War of the Bounty Hunters. And of course, I've got to go now read a couple comics so that I can do some reviews to make sure they're a hit deadline so they can come out on Wednesday, the day that they're released. Thank you so much for watching. Again, my name is John Edward Lee here in the Shenandoah Valley. Thank you so much, Star Wars fans. You're the people I'm doing this for. The Force will be with you, always.